دكتورة فيرا، ثمة تقارير تقول أن روسيا تمكنت من اختراق داعشيين سابقين وتتلاعب بهم، تسيرهم كما تريد لتحقيق أهداف سياسية خاصة بالكرملين، ونعلم أنك أجريت أبحاث ميدانية مستفيضة عن الدواعش من دول الاتحاد السوفيتي السابق، لديك معرفة دقيقة بهذا المجتمع. قريبا ستنشرين كتابا بعنوان المجرمون والنازيون والإسلاميون، التنافس على السلطة في سجون الاتحاد السوفيتي السابق. إذا تعرفين مداخلهم ومخارجهم، كيف تستغل روسيا مجتمع الدواعش؟
So right now, Russia tries to exploit everyone for the purpose of the war in Ukraine. And ISIS is not exception because first, they have several benefits. First, they are experienced in doing bad things. And second, most of the time, they don't have anywhere to hide. So they basically could be used for anything. So, and it's not only Russia, by the way. We should remember that Hashd-Shabi in Iraq and Hezbollah, they're using ex-ISIS members, local ones. So that's not new. It's just we're now looking at foreign fighters. But Russia, yeah, they were very active in trying to get ISIS folks from North Caucasus, first and foremost, North Caucasus, and then Central Asia.
مثل شو دكتورة نماذج من هذا الاستغلال؟
So, for example, I know from Tajik law enforcement that Wagner Group went to Tajikistan trying to ask their law enforcement to give them ISIS members currently in prison. Tajikistan refused. Then I know that a little bit before the war, Kadyrov force, Chechen Kadyrov force went to Afghanistan and took from prisons ISIS members, Russian citizens, ISIS members who were in prison in Kabul. Then, for example, I was contacted by a gentleman in Russian prison. He's from North Caucasus. He's currently serving his sentence. He said that he wanted to go to Wagner with the purpose of then defecting to Ukraine. But FSB, Russian intelligence services, came to him and said, no, people on terrorist sentences, they could not join Wagner, but they have a personal, private kind of task for him. So if he does want to go and fight for Russia, they're going to make him fake identity and he's going to go do more, direct tasks like assassinations in Europe and Ukraine. He refused, and then they transferred him to another prison. I know this gentleman personally. He contacted me. And, he's known. Russia was taken from ISIS members from prison in Damascus. Actually, not Russia. It was done through Iran, through Hezbollah. They took, I think months ago, they took people from prison in Damascus. And then they moved them to Iran and I think later to Afghanistan or something like that.
إذا دكتورة، هم ينقلون الدواعش السابقين إلى الحدود مع طاجكستان للتأثير على القرار السياسي التاجيكي، صحيح؟
That's a little bit different story. So there were, from what we know right now, there are at least two transfers. So we should not mix them. So first, it was guys who were taken in Mosul, Central Asian folks who were taken in Mosul in 2017, and then they were taken by Hashd-Shabi and moved to Iran. And then, according to Tajik government and law enforcement, they appeared on Tajik border with Afghanistan. So on Afghanistan side of the Tajik-Afghani border. And then a month ago, according to U.S. intelligence and law enforcement, there was another transfer this time from Damascus prison. But they went not to the border with Tajikistan, but from what I remember, to the border between Iran and Afghanistan, on Afghanistan side.
ومرة أخرى، هل هذا بهدف التأثير على السياسة في تاجكستان؟
I could not say. I mean, I could not speculate on the purpose, but definitely, Tajikistan is not happy.
دكتورة فيرا، هل يدرك أنصار داعش هذا التدخل والاختراق الروسي؟
No, I mean, come on. First of all, when Daesh was actually Daesh that we know, the ones controlling Syria and Iraq, I mean, I think everyone kind of knew that Russia is all over that structure. I'm not going to go into names right now. Some high-profile ISIS members in ISIS that I think absolutely everyone thought that they worked for intelligence, just like absolutely everyone thought that. And so a lot of ex-ISIS members, right, the ones who were actually in ISIS, they understand that there is no question about that. They know that they've been exploited, and Russia is looking for the ISIS members. Those guys experience, they have been there. If I talk about so-called, like armchair supporters of ISIS, those fan group, Instagram, fans of ISIS, they have no idea. Of course, they have no idea. They still think that ISIS is all this glorious organization fighting for true Islam. Oh, absolutely. Those guys, no clue. And they would not believe whatever you tell them. No, you're wrong because you're kafir. The story that we saw in 12, 13, all that stuff. So, of course, they have no idea.
وماذا لو أدرك أنصار داعش حقيقة هذا الاختراق؟
No, they absolutely would not believe that. They would tell you, you're telling us that they work for Russia. That's because you're kafir. That's it. Like the usual story that the only people who are right are the fans of ISIS. That's it. Like I hear constantly every day how even former ISIS members who spent 5 years in ISIS, even in army of ISIS, they're trying to talk to those ISIS fans who have never been to Syria or Iraq. Are just like Instagram ISIS fans, and it's just useless.
دكتورة، حقيقة أنه دواعش سابقين يتماهون مع هذا التدخل الروسي سواء يخضعون له أو يسعون إليه، ماذا يعني بالنسبة للصورة التي يحاول تنظيم داعش تقديمها لأنصاره؟
What image does Daesh have in the first place? I mean, it's weird, but like ex-fighters, some of them are more or less adequate. So they kind of, when they realized how ridiculous it is, left, and now they kind of fully realize what was happening and what's happening now. They kind of woke up. Then all the actual fans who believed in ISIS and who were in ISIS, they're more or less dead because that they went on a suicide operation or whatever, died on the front line. So they're gone. So basically, folks who really believe in ISIS organization are now only Instagram fans and internet supporters because they first of all, they're alive because they have never been to actual ISIS, and then that they only see the propaganda. But again, it's impossible to talk to them. They're useless.
دكتورة فيرا، لأي درجة اختراق روسيا لشبكات الداعشيين السابقين أمر خطير؟
I'm very worried. I mean, we know that it's infiltrated like that. There is no question about that. I'm just worried how they're going to use them. Because those guys have no agencies themselves, right? Because they are wanted, that the sentence is waiting for them or whatever, right? So they're going to do anything that they've been told to do. It's first. Second, Russia could give them fake documents and just go, right? So yeah, I'm very worried about what they're going to do. So actually, best case scenario, we should basically tell them, like, guys, if you're in this situation, you should defect, and we're going to deal with you and help you, because we could not catch them one by one. Basically, it's impossible. So they, like, you remember the network of ISIS that was happening when they were doing the attacks, right? It was like 15, 14, 15, 16, right? All over the Europe. And we could not control them. They were just like here, 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 here. But now with the Russia help, they could be much more powerful, right? Again, fake documents, everything. They would enable them. Super dangerous. And Russia would, I would think that Russia would possibly want to do it simply because wouldn't it be nice to distract attention of Europe from Ukraine to internal matters? If there would be a couple of terrorist attacks or something like that. So I see it as a very serious problem.